Here's something to consider. If I'm doing publicity shots for a show, either before they get up and running or during a dress rehearsal, I'm always asking myself, what is the correct shutter speed to get the action so people don't look blurry in a shot? And frankly, I don't think there is a consistent number for anybody. It really depends on the amount of light that you've got on stage, whether it be the work lights or the lights that they're going to have during their production for the purposes of the dress rehearsal. And some people just do aperture priority and leave it at that. Some people do auto. I don't know why, but I'm sure they have their reasons. And so within the first 10 minutes, I'm experimenting either from shutter speed of 1/250th of a second to 1/500th, and sometimes it'll look too dark the faster the shutter speed, and I get that. For a drama on stage where people aren't moving fast and it's all about the words, then you don't have to worry as much. But if you want to get a crisp, sharp picture, personally, I would go anywhere from 1/250th, but more on the side of 1/500th of a second. And from there, you've either got to hope that you get more light, because every scene is most likely going to have a different light design, light setup. If you get a general wash for a whole play, lucky you. But the ISO, I usually have my camera set at somewhere around 2500 ISO. That's fairly safe. It's not too grainy. If there is, this isn't Broadway. I want to take a couple of shots here to give examples of a good ballpark figure. It also depends on what kind of lens setup you have, and depending on the theater. This is a raised proscenium, so from the back of the house back there, normally I would use something like the 70 to 200 millimeter, but for a lot of theaters where I've done shots at, I've been forced to use the kit lens, the 18 to 135, which only goes from f3.5 to f5.6, but I've gotten some really good shots from that. So what I'm going to do is set up the camera with the 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8 at the back of the house, hit that 10-second timer, then run up here and do some really stupid poses, but it's to prove a point. They're not the best examples, but when you're a one-person crew, who gives a crap? I mean, it still doesn't change the fact that I don't own a full-frame body yet. Alright, so in this first goofy-looking image, the shutter speed, I had it set at 1/125th of a second, and I was just shaking my hands very fast. And obviously you can see the blurriness of it. Apologize, it's a bit out of focus, but that's okay. I'm not so worried about the focus as I am about the shutter speed here. And now at 1/250th of a second, yeah, I'm just doing that, looking stupid, but just alternating, pointing my fingers to the ceiling, John Travolta style. It captured it a lot better. It's definitely not so blurry, and you can get away with this on stage. And just keep in mind the amount of light that's coming in your camera. The better the aperture is what you want here. But shutter speed wise, 1/250th is pretty good. And for a lot of action here, I was just twirling my arms like long pieces of rope in circles. And at 1/500th of a second, this got it pretty still. It's a good spot where it got it still out of focus, but you can tell it's going to be pretty sharp if you try it on somebody on stage. And also keep in mind that I have my camera on a tripod. I wasn't hand holding it, so when you're holding the camera and moving around, that's probably going to cause a little more blur at 1/250th of a second. So that's why I say I prefer something closer to 1/500th. So remember, a good moment on stage happens pretty fast. If you don't set your shutter speed, you could miss it. You still watching? What? It's over. If you learned anything, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Then go.